Welcome to MWeb's Entrepreneur Zone. Today I've got Marina from the Little Black Book. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Tell us a little bit about your business.
The Little Black Book is a small agency, but we provide publicity PR for companies. We've got a very well-known database due to some of the events that we've done in the past, from Hugo Boss, Tommy Hilfiger, the one and only. We do weddings, we do events. When we take on a new client, we try to actually offer all the services, because especially when they're expecting our database to attend the event, we know exactly what type of wine, what type of canapes, what the expectations of those people are. So if we're in control of the food, obviously project managing the event, the venue, the alcohol that's being served, soft drinks, etc., then we find that we have a successful event. And I think that's us in a nutshell.
And it's born out of your network of contacts?
It's pretty much started off like that. I've always been one of those people that's been well-traveled, well-networked. I just have a gift and knack for meeting people in higher places. And from that, I was asked to launch a couple of restaurants as favors for friends. And it just got bigger and bigger, and I found, like, obviously when you've got a certain caliber of people like Christo Wiese and the Ruperts, Whitey Basson attending your events on a regular basis, along with sports personalities and celebrities, the media automatically become very interested in attending too, and so that's when the publicity starts being generated. So I think all in all, offering everything together is a great way to have a satisfied client at the end of the day, and also we feel confident when we're in control of the entire event that we know that we can provide exactly what those consumers are expecting at that function.
And there's a lot of pressure in this type of business.
Yeah, extremely. Just events alone is very stressful. PR also, obviously, because you could take an advert in a magazine and it's guaranteed to be exactly the way that person wants it. PR, you can obviously land up getting millions of rands worth of coverage, but you're not always in control of what that editor or journalist is going to write about the client, and you don't always know if you're going to even get any publicity. Luckily, we've got brilliant relationships with all the media, long-standing relationships. We've never had a disappointed client, and we always seem to excel in the PR coverage that we get for our clients. So it really works out to be a good return and investment for them.
Being networked,
Yes.
That's changed over time now with
Yeah.
social media. What role does the internet play in your business?
I was pretty much on Facebook the minute it started. Luckily, my sister lives in London, works for a top ad agency, so she always kind of lets me know about the trends regarding social media and what I should be doing before it hits South Africa. And I often research my database. I've got about 7,000 followers on my personal profile. I'm very selective of who I put on there also. At the end of the day, the bigger it gets, the harder it is to manage. So every time we do an event, I handpick accordingly. We mainly focus on luxury brands. Our database is A-list generally. I use it all the time for business.
The service that you provide, obviously add a lot of value by making your database available and getting the right people at the event.
Yes.
How do you charge? What's your business model?
Generally speaking, we work on an hourly rate when it comes to PR. Obviously, we always go over and above the call of duty with our clients. I think that's where we're a little bit different to most companies is I often also look at work using my network. For instance, if we're doing a massive event for Hugo Boss, I've got a lot of good relationships with alcohol brands, premium alcohol brands. So I save my clients a lot of money by getting Mum Champagne and Jameson Reserve and all kinds of other things. So we don't charge extra for that, but it's just something special that comes with the package. We've got a set fee for when it comes to launches, and then obviously that excludes hard costs. And obviously, when a client comes to us, a small business especially, we're very accommodating. If it's out of season and it's in winter, we find that we can obviously work within their budget, within reason.
Combining a full service for your clients obviously means that you've got to be in control of a whole lot of different aspects. How do you manage those projects to ensure that you get the right level of service?
I tend to work with the same suppliers again and again because, I know exactly how they work, and they're also very accommodating. Sometimes, you do have budget restrictions, and they know that they're going to get more work from you going forward. Also, there's no funny surprises, last-minute surprise, because if you're going to manage everything, you need to make sure you've got a good team.
In terms of you work with high-end brands,
Yes.
and you need to obviously present your brand. How important is kind of your personal profile, and how do you ensure that you establish a good reputation?
You can't ever get complacent in what you do. You've got to strive for the best. The unfortunate thing is when you've done it, had a very successful event in the past, they're going to expect something even bigger and better going forward. So, I've built my business on word of mouth. And so if I have a failure or a flop of an event, then people aren't very forgiving in Cape Town or South Africa. They don't give you second chances. It's like going to a hairdresser and they make a mistake. The chances are you're not going to go back again.
Obviously, events are they're controllable to an extent, but things change and happen.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that kind of change?
You've always got to think in the back of your mind, plan B. Obviously, weather dependent. What happens if it starts raining? I generally have a philosophy that I overbook my events a lot because there's generally a 30% drop-off rate.
You started out in events and now you've gone into PR and brought on a partner. Tell us about your relationship with your partner.
My partner's my right hand. She basically has all the qualities that I don't have. So it's pointless kind of hiring someone with exactly the same qualities that I've got. I've got limited writing skills. I'm very good with bringing in the business. I'm very good with connecting with people. However, being organized, I'm very organized with organized chaos, but in terms of banking, etc., those are not my forte. So having a partner is with all the opposite qualities is so important. I wouldn't be able to do what I do without her.
A large part of the value add is who you bring to these parties and events. Obviously, you need to deal with celebrities and high-profile people. Give us some insight into dealing with those.
I think I'm quite fortunate. I tend to mix in those circles. Even when I was living in London for 5.5 years, I actually introduced my sister to Frank Lampard, who she landed up dating for 2 years. And I've still got a lot of ties in New York and London. So I've been fortunate that when it was the World Cup and we were working for Sol Kersner at the One and Only, a friend of mine contacted me from New York and said, look, we've got Mick Jagger, Leonardo DiCaprio, and various other people coming down. Are you doing anything? They'd like to attend your event. And I'm like, actually, yes, tomorrow. And then recently we had Kevin Spacey. He attended our Hugo Boss event in December. And I actually built quite a good relationship with him. And he was renting a house out in Llandudno. And his bodyguard contacted me and said, please, Kevin would like you firstly to organize he wants to do a little soiree at his house. And he really could see that you have the right type of people following you, and the event was so fantastic. Would I mind inviting a couple of people to his house because he'd like to have a bit of a crowd there? So I think when someone of that, international standard is actually asking you to bring a crowd to his party, I think you've got something special going for you.
What advice would you give to small businesses that we're trying to break into the market of kind of high-end customers that are either providing them products or services?
I think try and keep your overheads as low as humanly possible. When I started my business, I worked from home for the first 4 years. It's only recently that we've actually now acquired our own offices, and now we're actually looking to buy office space. But keep everything as small as possible. You can always outsource. There's plenty of freelance people out there. There was quite a few projects that I took on that I did pro bono, just to get my name out there, just to, I was very clever in always making sure that I managed all the photographs. Start off like that, and then eventually, within time, you can start charging more and more and more. And then what people want is they want the experience behind you, and they believe in you, and they trust in you, and they don't actually mind paying that extra.
You've developed a successful business. Where are you going to take it from here?
At the moment, we are doing quite a bit in Joburg, more and more. So that's our next focus. Somewhere down the line, I'd love to open up a branch in London and in New York. That's my biggest dream, New York.
Great. That brings us on to our rapid fire questions.
Okay.
What's the best advice you've ever received?
From a very good property developer. He mentioned that, you've got to learn from every single mistake you've ever made, and perseverance is key to being successful in business. Never let anything knock you down, just continue and learn from it.
Your best moment as an entrepreneur?
There's been so many, but probably the highlight of last year was when Kevin Spacey attended the Hugo Boss event.
And your biggest mistake?
Agreeing to get my database to someone's event when I wasn't in control of the canapes or the selection of wine that they chose.
What quality do you look for in people that you work with?
Someone who's calm, organized, yeah.
What does an entrepreneur need to succeed?
A zest for life and a love of people, and be a well-networked individual. You know, you never stop looking for those opportunities. You know, really try and take in as much as you possibly can, and always ask questions and listen.
What's your biggest inspiration as a small business owner?
I think having lived in London for 5.5 years, I learned a lot there, and keeping an eye on all the trends that happen in Europe and in America, and reading international magazines.
What would you do differently?
I don't think I would do anything differently, you know. I think the most important thing is everyone makes mistakes, and I think that's how you learn.
What makes South Africa a great place to be a small business owner?
I think the diversity and the cultures and the fact that we've got such incredible weather.
What keeps you up at night?
I think first 3 years, always worrying about finances and bringing in more business. But I think the longer you have your business for, it's been 5 years, the better you sleep at night.
And what gets you going in the morning?
I love what I do. I love my business partner. I love all my clients. You know, I think, you know, you spend so much time at work, more time than you actually spend with your families if you think about it. So if you don't enjoy what you do, I mean, what's the point of life?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you. We look forward to the coming weeks. We will bring you further South African entrepreneurs. I'm Paul Hobden. Thank you and goodbye.